I've taken a look at a lot of keyboards over the years, of which many of them unique and over the top. But this thing, it's the absolute weirdest, wildest keyboard I have ever seen, hands down. This is the true Tesla Cybertruck of keyboards. As in, like, I drew a funny thing as a joke, but somehow it became real kind of keyboard. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Scott K. Seriously, when I opened up the box to like the Noland N1 for the first time, I literally said out loud, WTF. What is this that I'm beholding in front of me right now? I mean, I have seen some crazy wild keyboards in my life, but this guy, it kind of blurs the line between like a keyboard and I don't even know, like someone's imagination. Are you supposed to use this thing or like display it? Well, surprisingly, as complicated as this thing looks, it most definitely is still a keyboard. It types, it makes noise, it floats on the most elaborate magnetic roller tension suspension device modeled after a spider. They call it the Lucas suspension. Let's see what that's all about. Okay, so right off the bat, you know that the Noland N1 is not a regular keyboard. I mean, it comes in like a very angry meow-esque metal case, and it kind of screams, I am expensive, which is very true since it starts at $550 for this dark colored space one and a whopping $1239 for a light colored winter one. If you're still interested, check it out in the description below. You could kind of link to it if you want to see it. Now, let's just jump straight to the main topic. The case of this keyboard is kind of not a case. I mean, it does have a case portion to it, but it kind of just remains suspended. How? Through this thing here. Well, partly. This is part of the Lucas suspension. It's like a pivoting roller on an elastic arm. There are actually 6 of these in total, 3 on each side. And yes, it works to help support and distribute the load of the actual case from all sides. But wait, the other part of the said Lucas suspension is actually not visible. It's the 4 large permanent magnets below that actually levitates the entire case into the air. You heard that right. This is the most sophisticated or insane type of mounting I have ever seen ever. And yes, it is absolutely unique in how it feels. It's very soft and bouncy, but at the same time it's very dampened. The oddest thing about this is that it's not just a plate or a PCB that is like flexing for you. It's the entire inner case assembly that kind of maglevs. Beyond this Lucas suspension, the oddness of the case design like continues on. First of all, I don't think this was really designed to be a stealthy, everyday usage kind of device. Look at it. It's like a chunky block of metal. It's actually about 9 pounds. And you know what? You put another chunky keyboard next to it, in this case the Vento 80 by Owllab, and it completely dwarfs it. I'm still like kind of unsure how you will use this thing to actually type, but we'll see about that. Look around the case. I mean, like, it's just crazy. You can see through it from the front, and the back of it is like this wild design. Even the USB port is designed to like move up and down. Does it end here? No, of course not. Noir decided that they needed to push the envelope even further. So they decided to embed these little things right below. They call it the sound dome. What the heck is that? It's essentially little metal domes over a soft foam bed. It's designed to sit like right under each key and absorb and contain and help accentuate each key press as it happens. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you suspend something in the air, you won't get much of that like typing energy transferring, hence less case resonance and less sound. So instead, they decided to like make little dome amplifiers under each key instead. Genius or crazy? You decide. Oh, one thing, do not unscrew this thing, the domes kind of go everywhere. Cosmetically, Noir does an excellent job of finishing like and providing a premium feel of the Noland N1, and is pretty evident throughout the entire board, like the speckled finish designed to mimic the vast expanse of space. Alright, let's move on to the components then. Is it crazy or is it more normal? But before we jump into that, let's go to a quick word from our sponsor today, PCBWay. PCBWay is an online service that helps you print PCBs, do 3D printing, or even CNC machining. If you're an aspiring keyboard designer or whatever else designer, you can take your design and simply upload it to get something made quick. Or, if you have the source code for a PCB that you already have and you need a replacement, you can also get that done as well. They can handle all types of PCBs from your simple single layer designs to multi-layer stacks. Beyond PCBs, if you want to try making your own case, PCBWay can machine that as well. Now, a very exciting new service that PCBWay offers, OEM. Instead of just making a single component, you can actually task PCBWay to be an OEM manufacturer and make the whole thing. They can do anything from PCBs to CNC cases to even assembly. And using global manufacturing, they can offer very competitive prices. Is there a keyboard on the horizon? Well, check out OEM at PCBWay. Okay, so the PCB, I mean, this is actually pretty normal and tame. It's a thin 1.2mm PCB with like no flex cuts. I mean, if you suspended the entire keyboard, not sure why you need the thin, flexible PCB here, but I digress. As expected from something like this, you also have KO style, it's actually TTC in this situation, hot swap sockets in the south-facing configuration. Underneath it all, you can see like the module that controls the wireless functions of the specific Noland N1. And of course it's wireless, right? Okay, things are not as tame when it comes to the plate though. Far as I know, you only get one choice of plates for this really expensive keyboard here, and it's FR4. But it's not just any old FR4, it's like a G-string FR4. I think there's actually more air in this plate than there's actual plate. Once again, this will make the plate super flexible and also tend to like leak out a lot of the typing sound as well. But hey, sound domes, right? Gonna fix everything. As you'd expect, there are a few pieces of foam here, right? 2024. You got the P foam sheet as well as the plate support foam. I expected more foam, but hey, that's it. But you do have the foam underneath the dome, so. Okay, so I decided to build this thing out without the PE foam, but with the plate foam. I mean, there wasn't much plate going on here, so I do want to trap a little bit more sound into the sound dome and also aid in the switch installation because the plate is very flexible. Speaking of switches, I decided to go with the set of Sillyworks Hyacinth linears. These are long stem pole linears, and I wasn't sure like what to expect from a suspended keyboard, so I definitely wanted to do something a little bit more prominent in terms of sound, so we'll see about that. For keycaps, I wanted to match against this nice like grayish color, so I decided to go with the set of DCX Dolch Keycaps. I also threw in a little bit of color for that pop, right? So it's not just gray. So once you build this thing out, you can slip it all back into the mounting system again. When you're doing this, you can really actually feel the magnets like pushing up against the case. It's kind of strange. Actually, this is the coolest part of the entire assembly right here. This keyboard is also not for beginners, by the way. You finish it off with a nice glass cover to protect the Lucas suspension. Literally plays off like the display aspect of this keyboard quite a bit. But remember guys, this is a glass piece, so be careful when you're tightening this. If you go too hard on it, it's gonna shatter. Once it's all complete, it's a menacing, imposing thing on your desk. It's like a desk thing. It just happens to be able to type. If you want to show up to like a keep meet and like turn heads, this is probably the thing that you want to take with you. So how does it type? Well, let's check it out. You know, given the fact that this keyboard is like fully suspended and crazy dampened, I thought it would be like ultra quiet and very meek, but it definitely isn't. I guess the sound domes are working in this situation. All in all, the Noland N1 is a fairly clacky profile keyboard, so higher pitched sound. It makes sense since the suspension isn't really allowing for like big, heavy things to resonate, but the sound signature is very unique. It has a resonance characteristics of like a bridge, I guess. I didn't really know what to expect like going into this keyboard, but the overall sound of the Noland is very snappy. It's like it has a snap to it. It's very energy charged. The mods sound fantastic with the exclusion of the spacebar. The spacebar sounds a bit harsh. I think it would actually benefit from like the Butyl rubber mod I've shown before. Now, What about the feel? Well, it's as you expect, right? It's a very soft and very dampened keyboard. Not just soft and bouncy, but it actually feels dampened. Like you can see the entire thing moving and bouncing as you type. But even if you're like a heavy typer, this thing dampens like a mother. I mean, it just soaks up the force and feels like you're like kind of typing into a shock absorber, not a spring, a shock absorber. And yes, those are different things. Since the keyboard is so tall, I thought it would be like impossible to type on it, but honestly, surprisingly, it wasn't that bad. I think they even offer like a crazy wrist rest you can buy that like matches this thing. So I don't think any other wrist rests really match with this, so. Okay, so the Noland N1. What the heck is this thing and what is my thought on it? If you're looking for like a daily driver keyboard, this is not that. I mean, it's a keyboard, it types, but if you're looking for a regular input device, you're not going to just jump up and think, oh yes, Noland N1. No. In my opinion, this is a keyboard for someone that already has like a lot of common keyboards and wants something different, like very different. Or someone that truly loves engineering and probably overly engineered stuff. Or perhaps a crazy person that also thinks that Cybertrucks are not weird and they're absolutely and completely normal. If you're interested in the Noland N1 or any of the components shown on this video, you can check it out in the description below. I usually put everything down there, so. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and I'll have more content for you in the future. Thanks.